What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Fight Scene YouTube channel. We are breaking down UFC Perth today. The UFC finally returns after another bye week, even though we just had a bye week like 2 weeks ago. But thankfully, we are back and we got a lot of fights to get through UFC Perth. So we are going to be getting through them pretty quickly, starting with Loma Lookboonmee against Alexia Tayanara. Easy pick here, Tayanara. She's much better all round in the grappling specifically. I think she's going to have her way with Lookboonmee here and probably find the sub and or the finish. Moving on. Brando Pericic against Elijah Ellison. Heavyweight collision here between some two big boys making their debut and going to be looking to make a statement. It's honestly going to be a pretty close fight, I think, but hometown guy Brando Pericic, maybe I think I've just got to back him, you know. Hopefully a finish coming there though. Then we move on to Michelle Montague against Luana Carolina. Michelle Montague has 6 fights, 6 wins, all by submission. This is her UFC debut, but she has had some pretty, tough competition fights in her previous ones. So honestly, I've got to back her here. Hometown in a way, from New Zealand, fighting Australia. I reckon she finds a submission finish against Luana Carolina. Then Colby Thickness against Josias Musasa. This is going to be another good fight, and I've got to pick Colby Thickness here. I just think he is better than Musasa all round. Tough one to say because I would like Josias Musasa to win. I want to support him and I want him to win, but I think Thickness has him skill-wise, especially on the feet, mainly on the feet. I don't know if Thickness will find a finish in this one, but I think he'll have his way through a dominant decision. Jamie Mullarkey against Rolando Bedoya. This is a pretty tin can fight. Jamie Mullarkey, the glass chin man. I think he gets chinned in this one, to be honest. It's kind of hard to say anything other than that, to predict anything other than that. Rolando Bedoya, good striker. Really good striker, in fact, and much better than Jamie Mullarkey, and I think he's going to have his way with Mullarkey and put him away. Not necessarily in one, but potentially in one. Unfortunately, Mullarkey is past his prime. Anyways, moving on. Jonathan Mikhailov against Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott is he had a tough outing last time out against KO. I can't remember the guy's full name, but I know it ends in KO. But Oban Elliott was obviously a big favorite in that. I even picked him to win, get his grappling going, and he got absolutely manhandled and dominated through 3. So tough outing for Oban Elliott. He'll be hoping to get his hype train back on track against Jonathan Mikhailov here, but he definitely has his work cut out for him. Mikhailov 8-1, a good fighter all around. He's got good takedown defense. He's even got good wrestling, grappling himself. It's going to be a tough one for Oban Elliott. It's honestly a tough one to pick here. I might pick Mikhailov. I think he might just be better than Elliott. I think Oban Elliott maybe isn't as good as we thought. Yes, we'll see. But I'm going to pick Mikhailov to win that one, probably by decision. Cam Ralston, I flippin' love this guy, against Andre Petroski. No shadow of a doubt am I picking Cam Ralston to win this one, to knock Petroski out in one, probably. Big fan of Ralston. Watched his fight this year on Contender Series. Watched him say he wants to fight on Perth. Flippin' cool guy. Flippin' talented fighter. He's already 30 years of age, so he's got to make a statement and make his way through those middleweight rankings as quick as he can. But genuinely really cool guy. Really want to see the best for him, and unfortunately he's coming up against a pretty washed Petroski, and I think he's gonna put him away in 1 or 2 brutally. Moving on for our prelim headliner, Navajo Sterling against Rodolfo Bellato. Oaks, Navajo Sterling is not as good as he's made out to be honest. I have not been impressed with his last 2 fights, his last 2 performances. I think he is good, but I think Oaks are overrating him at the moment. And honestly, he might have a tough time against Bellato, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him lose this one. I'm not going to pick against him, but I'm not convinced that he's going to have it easy against Bellato. Obviously, Bellato's last fight, he took the weirdest dive against Paul Craig. I don't even know what the hell that was. But if he actually gets it together here against Navajo Sterling, he might have enough to cause some problems for Sterling. I don't know. I haven't been liking what I've been seeing. So I'd like to see maybe a little different version of Sterling come out today, this weekend. Maybe a bit more aggressive, like we're used to seeing on the Contender Series and things like that. So I am going to pick Sterling to win this one, but don't be surprised to see an upset here. Moving on, our main card opener, Tom Nolan against Charlie Campbell. Tom Nolan got a good win last time out against Vyacheslav Borchev. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but Slava Claus. You may know him. Obviously, he then went on to get choked by T-Rex in the first round. So that's not really the best aged win for Tom Nolan, but I do still think he is really good. 25 years old in his home country, coming up against Charlie Campbell, who is also talented. Both these guys like to keep it on the feet. I think Tom Nolan, there's like a kung fu style or something. Maybe it's Charlie. One of them is kung fu style though, but these guys are going to keep it on the feet, I think, for the most part. I think it's going to be a really fun fight to open up the main card. I'm going to pick Tom Nolan. I'm going to go with most of the hometown guys. I think it makes a big difference. My goodness, how does the Tougher brothers at all keep getting on these cards? Nevertheless, a main card slot. But Justin Tougher against Louis Sutherland from Scotland. I am not picking a Tougher brother. He's probably going to get knocked out by Louis Sutherland. I just can't pick a Tougher brother. At this stage of watching the UFC, you've got to know that you can't bet on them because no one knows what's going to happen. I think Louis Sutherland, he's an absolute beast. He's got heavy hands. I think he's going to put Tougher away here, probably in one. Because if it goes any longer than one, Tougher's probably going to have a heart attack. So yeah, Louis Sutherland by devastating KO or Justin Tougher by respiratory failure. Then Jake Matthews against Neil Magny. Oaks. Neil Magny, crafty vet. He is about as crafty as they come, I'm telling you. People forget, man. People forget. Neil Magny is crafty. The fact that Neil Magny got a win in the big 2025 in his last time out in the Apex, just absolutely crazy. I'm pretty sure it was the Apex. I can't remember who his opponent even was. But Neil Magny got a ground and pound victory in his last fight. And now he comes up against Jake Matthews, a classic example of winning fights he shouldn't and losing fights he should win type of vibe. However, honestly, I can't. Surely he's not losing to Neil Magny. Neil Magny is obviously crafty as they come and very capable of getting a win here. But Jake Matthews is 7 years younger. He's a lot more exciting. And I think he has to win this. Like, surely Jake Matthews is winning this. But it's almost worth putting some money on Neil Magny just for fun, because you never know with that oak. But off the gate, like prediction, I'm saying Jake Matthews by decision. Jack Jenkins against Ramon Taveras. Tavares, whatever. Got to pick Jack Jenkins in this one. I think he's an absolute solid fighter. He's aggressive, pressure fighter. Super fun to watch. I remember when he broke his arm in one of his fights. I don't know if it was last fight or something before that, but Jack Jenkins, really good fighter. Really fun to watch. I honestly don't know much about Ramon Taveras, but from the looks of his stats, he's more of a stand-up gent. So I think this probably will be a nice stand-up fight. Jack Jenkins might look for a takedown or two, but I can see Jack Jenkins putting Taveras away here. Inside the distance, TKO Jack Jenkins, my boy. Yeah, see, this is an interesting fight. Jimmy Crute against Ivan Urslan. Jimmy Crute, that guy was having a tough time, and then he's managed to make a big bounce back in his last couple, and he actually looked really good in his last fight, and he got the finish. And I've got to back him here against Urslan. Urslan a little bit past his better days. And yeah, man, I just can't see him. I can't see him getting past Jimmy Crute here. I can't see him having anything for Jimmy Crute because Jimmy Crute's a really good grappler, submission guy. That's kind of his main threat. That's his main, path to victory. And Urslan's not really a ground guy. So yeah, I reckon Jimmy Crute might have his way with him, but on the ground, and could probably find a ground and pound or a submission finish, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to take Jimmy Crute. Also a dangerous pick because he also just loses some weird fights. But I am going to take Jimmy Crute, maybe to get the finish here. And that brings us to our main event. Carlos the Black Panther Alberg. Is it the Black Panther? I don't know. Something like that. Against Dominic the Dominator. No, that's Dominic Cruz. But Dominic Reyes. Oaks, we are supporting Dominic Reyes this week because we want to see him fight for the title again. We all know he got robbed against John Jones. We all know, okay? So, yeah, obviously Carlos Ulberg, really talented, exciting prospect. And I'm a big fan of Carlos Ulberg, to be honest. Sorry. I'm a big fan of Carlos Ulberg, to be honest. But I really do want to see Dominic Reyes. I didn't really like Dominic Reyes, to be honest. But how can you not, man? Like, after seeing more of his story and watching his fights and seeing what happened with John, and I've watched that fight myself, obviously. Like, you can't not love the comeback. It's amazing. It's inspirational from Reyes, all the adversity he's faced to bounce back. And if he wins this fight, he's gonna fight for the title. Like, it has to happen. And unfortunately for Carlos Ulberg, he's gonna have to be the sacrificial lamb here and just take the hit. But in all seriousness, this is gonna be a really fun, competitive fight. Dom has a really good jab. He's got fast hands, good overhand. Ulberg, you know, I don't think he's as talented as Reyes. He might be a little bit faster, but I feel like Dom is better on the feet. He's more well-rounded. He can kind of have his way with Carlos at range and maybe find a big shot or two. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Reyes puts him away here. Bold prediction, but Dom he's got it in him. He's got the hands, and I wouldn't be surprised if he could put Carlos Ulberg away. So I'm not going to say he's going to win by finish, but I'm going Dominic Reyes to win this fight by whatever means. And yeah, I think that just that about wraps it up. How long that we've been there? About 11 minutes, going to be 12 or 13. But folks, yeah, I mean, that wraps up the prediction. If you want to see my official predictions for every fight, you can follow me on Verdict at Fight Scene ZA. I have lots of fun on there. We can be friends and we can check each other's picks and whatever. So yeah, follow me on Verdict. Follow me on Instagram for all my bets. They'll be dropping later this week. Betting video hopefully dropping later this week. I'm going to try to get back on a more consistent posting schedule. Your boy's busy these days, but still love doing this and still going to keep hustling. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll check you in the next one.